This month, we introduced the practice of Uddiyana and Nauli. These are relatively difficult things to do, these abdominal control exercises. They take a lot of practice, and they are in some ways simple, but in other ways slightly complicated and difficult. So let's talk about why these practices are difficult to do. The practice of Uddiyana and Nauli both use breathing muscles. Okay, so these are muscles that are always associated with inhaling and exhaling. For example, when we do Uddiyana, or when we begin the practice of Nauli, we lift the chest, which draws the abdomen in. The muscles that lift the chest are the external intercostal muscles. Why that is difficult to do is because those muscles are usually what inhale. When we do Uddiyana and Nauli though, we use those muscles, but we don't inhale, right? Because Uddiyana and Nauli are done with the breath held out. So we are using the external intercostal muscles, we're engaging them, but we are not bringing in any air. So this is difficult because all of our life, when we breathe, our muscles engage, our muscles of the ribs engage, right? This is something that happens relatively frequently. But now we are asking that same action to happen without the breathing attached to it. This is really difficult to wrap our mind around. And this is what takes a lot of practice. How do we get the muscles of breathing to engage without breathing? So how do we do this? We practice. Quite simply, this practice takes a long time to develop. It may feel like day after day you practice it and nothing is happening. Just because nothing physically is happening does not mean that nothing mentally is happening. You are trying to figure out these positions in the body. Just because they don't happen right away doesn't mean the mind isn't trying to put the action together, okay? So for days, weeks, months, you might try to do Uddiyana and nothing happens. That's okay. Keep trying, because one day it's gonna happen, and it's easy to think on that day that, oh my gosh, today was the day. I just learned how to do it. But you didn't just learn how to do it. You practiced for a long time, and once you got to a certain point, the physical engagement happened. The physical response happened. It takes all of the time of practicing without that happening to build up to that point where it finally does. So I encourage you, practice, keep coming back to it, and one day it will happen, even if it feels like it won't. It will.